This mix was sent in by Omar. Okay, stop with the line 6 spider ass guitar tone. Like, dude, the guitar sounds so fucking bad. From what I can hear of the vocals, they sound decent, but they're kind of buried. Like, you can't really make out what the vocals are saying. Those definitely have to be a lot louder. They also need to be EQ'd better. The bass so far is the best sounding thing. The drums also don't sound great. Like, the cymbals are a little harsh. Cymbals are definitely too loud. The drum shells need to come up. Like, the kick is at kind of a decent volume, but it could cut through in the top end more, and the snare is like pretty buried. But yeah, so far, balance issues, tone issues. Like, for sure, throw out that fucking guitar tone and just start from scratch on that, because the guitar does not sound good. You also have like a surprising drop off of low end, like below 150. Like, you have a decent amount of low mids, so it doesn't really feel like it's missing too much low end. Part of that is because I'm on smallish monitors and I don't have a sub in here. So usually in here, if you have a pretty good sounding low mids, like, it feels like there's a decent amount of low end energy, but we're definitely missing that sub. You don't have nearly enough down at like 50, 60 hertz. Like, that could come up a lot. It just, overall, it sounds pretty thin. Like, it sounds like a garage recording, which, I mean, obviously it's punk. Like, I'm sure that's kind of what you were going for, but you definitely could have gotten a lot of better tones at the recording stage. That would have made things a lot easier. Like, the drum sound is not great. You're definitely getting a lot of bad reflections in like a really shitty room. Probably a basement recording of a drum set. The guitar tone for sure is the worst thing. The bass tone is okay. It definitely needs a little bit more low end. The vocals, again, they kind of sound okay, but they're buried. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on here. But honestly, most of the problems here are stemming from the recording stage. Like, you need to get a better recording in order to be able to get a good mix. Honestly, like, you might have over EQ'd a lot of stuff trying to fix the bad recording, but really, if you get a better tone up front, it's going to be way easier to mix stuff. This mix was sent in by Christian. The guitars don't sound too bad. You've definitely scooped the mids a little bit too much for my liking, but like, that can work in this genre. But dude, what the hell is going on with that kick drum? Like, there's something seriously wrong with that kick drum. It sounds like there's no low end in the kick drum, or if there is low end, it's like only sub frequencies, and then like a whole bunch of like high end clicky attack. Like, there's way too much of that like top end click in the kick drum, and you're missing all of the like low end and low mids that's gonna fill things out, other than the sub frequencies. Like, there's probably a good amount of subs there. There's probably too much subs there, but like, from like, you know, 80 to like 200 hertz, there's still a lot that goes on in the kick drum sound, and you still want to have that in the mix, because especially on like smaller systems, that's what's going to make the kick come through and still sound like it has low end, is those low mid frequencies, not just the subs. Yeah, dude, you have like a ridiculous amount of like 40 hertz, which I'm assuming is all coming from the kick drum, and you have this massive dip in the low mids at like 400 hertz. Like, that definitely needs to be filled back in. We can't even hear the bass guitar at all here. Like, if it's there, it's only sub frequencies, just like the kick. Like, the bass especially, the bass and the guitar, but like, you kind of have a decent guitar tone here. Again, it's a little scoop for my taste, but like, the bass especially is going to fill in that low mid range and make things sound fuller and bigger and punchier. But like, it sounds like you scooped the fuck out of low mids in the bass as well. Like, especially if you're already scooping the mids in the guitar, you need to use the bass to fill that back in. Like, don't scoop everything. Like, if you're gonna scoop anything, scoop one thing. That's usually gonna be the guitar at either 500 or 800 hertz, depending on the song. And then the bass should be there to fill that spot in. You don't want to just gut the low mids in everything across the board, because then you end up with this, something that sounds like super, super hollow, except for a whole bunch of sub frequencies and a whole bunch of top end attack. Like, there's nothing in the mid range to fill it out. It just, you've gutted it. Yeah, dude, dial back the subs, fill the mid-range back in, and it's going to sound a lot better. This mix was sent in by Alan. Okay, kind of a weird choice to have like that little sound bite in the beginning and then like 7 seconds of dead air, but all right. Dude, I'm sorry. This does not sound good. This, at best, is a demo, but the bass tone's not great. The bass tone's not horrible, but it's not great. It definitely needs a little bit more like upper mid bite to cut through, but the bass is the best sounding thing in here so far. The guitar tone is super, super thin. You definitely over EQ'd it. The drums, I know you said you only recorded the drums with 2 mics, but like, it sounds really far away. I'm not sure how you set up the 2 mics. If it was like spaced off of the drum kit to kind of capture the whole kit, then it's probably just the nasty room sound bleeding into the mic. Like, if you're especially only going to capture drum kit with that few microphones, like, obviously you're going to get a lot more of the sound of the room in the drum mics. So you need to have a good sounding and or a very well treated room. So like, the drums don't sound good. The guitar doesn't sound good. The vocals, like, vocals are pitchy at best. And then it also feels like, yeah, you just have like this layer of reverb across everything that you're like, it seems like you're trying to cover everything up because you know it doesn't sound good here. Yeah, dude, you gotta dial back the reverb. Like, everything is drowning. It's adding so much mud to everything. And like, when reverb and delay, like time effects in general, and saturation even, a lot of effects that people use in mixing will kind of make things more of themselves, if that makes sense. So when you're adding these things to something that already sounds bad, you're making it sound more bad. Like, that's the only way I can describe it. Like, adding effects like that to a really good tone can be useful, but you can even destroy good tones with too much reverb. When you're drowning bad sounding recordings in reverb, like, it doesn't sound good, man. I know you said you recorded the drums, but like, you didn't do the rest of it. So, I mean, if you're just mixing it, there's only so much you can do, but like, dude, I would have scrapped this. I know you said that you're mixing this for a buddy of yours, but like, be a good friend and tell your friend that they need to get better, because good God, the tones are not great. The performance is not great. Like, there's so many problems in this. And I mean, if the dude just straight up can't play and sing, there's only so much you can do there, I guess. But like, I don't know, man. This, this is not fixable from a mixing standpoint as far as I'm concerned. Like, you need to get a much better recording on this before you can even start thinking about the mix. If you're listening on headphones, I highly recommend taking them out before watching this. And if you're listening on a system with a subwoofer, I highly recommend turning your subwoofer off before watching this. This mix was sent in by John. The intro is interesting. I can kind of dig the weird glitchy thing, but there's like way too much sub in this. Like, it's not even really fully coming through because I don't have a sub in here. I'm working on relatively small monitors, but like, I can just tell by the way that this sounds. If I had a sub, the room would be fucking shaking. Like, there's too much sub going on. All right. There's no easy way to put this. This sounds like ass. Yeah, specifically about the balance. The balance is the least of your problems, dude. Like, yeah, there's some balance issues. Some things are too loud. Like, the hi-hat especially is way too loud. But, like, everything else, the guitar tone sounds like shit. It sounds like you over-EQ'd everything. It sounds like half of this song is distorting. Like, the guitar is intentionally distorted. The vocals are distorting. Like, you've just intentionally distorted a lot of things. Or maybe unintentionally distorted a lot of things. But it just, in general, everything's fucking distorting. Like, this does not sound good. Like, you've gutted the EQ on everything, especially the guitar, but really everything. You have way too much sub going on. Like, this just... yeah. Yeah, dude, I'm not listening to another fucking second of that. This hurts, okay? Mostly because you've dipped the fuck out of the mid-range, so like there's nothing to balance things out. It's just overwhelming sub-frequencies and really, really painful upper mid frequencies. Like the hi-hat, the distortion on the vocals, the distortion on the guitar, like the thinned out guitar, like we're only getting really harsh high mid frequencies coming through and then a ton of fucking sub frequencies. Like, this is legitimately painful. I'm glad I don't have a sub in here because it would be even worse. You need to scrap all of this. Like, stop EQing shit before you get a good balance. Like, you definitely over EQ'd everything in this, but just in general, like, it sounds like a lot of the source recordings were fucking garbage to begin with. Like, dude, this needs a lot of fucking work. It hurts. So I know in these videos we're really focused on the mixing process, but the root cause of a lot of the problems we run into here are really based in the recording side of things and not in the mixing side of things. The mix is only ever going to be as good as the source recorded tracks allow them to be. If you get a better source recording, the better your mixes will be every single time. And it's for that reason that I put together my home recording cheat sheet. This is a free guide that helps you get better recordings on your own at home. I just updated it for 2025. I added a bunch of helpful diagrams, I added some bonus tips, and I made some changes to some old tips to update them for where things are now. If you want to check that out, you can find a link to it in the description below, and I really hope it's helpful for you.